Hey everybody, this is Perch. Lots been said about gatekeeping. And it kind of, well, I mean, I think that term is actually getting tired. I don't hear as much about it. And for a while, there was like, gatekeeping is bad. You can't keep people out of the hobby. And then a bunch of people got into the hobby they were trying to get into, where the said gatekeeping was happening. And then suddenly it's like, well, now we need some gatekeeping. It's hard to say gatekeeping is bad when part of your argument becomes, this is why we need to kick everybody off social media. They can build their own social media platform. Oh shit, a billionaire built the social media platform. Quick, everyone head to Tumblr. I'm joking. I don't have any love for Elon Musk. It's one of the tough things is you see, like, whenever somebody points out something like that's just a basic kind of human reality, like hey, the guy bought, the one that kills me is like 44 billion could have ended world hunger. No, it could not have. Not even effing close. That is a severe misunderstanding of money and the economy and other things. But whenever somebody points that out, like, hey, that would actually not even dent world hunger, people post this meme of like, why do all the nerds always have to defend Elon Musk? Like, nerds defending a billionaire, how pathetic. And it's like, I don't like the billionaire either. I just think you're all stupid. Like, you're all, God, you're all so fucking dumb. Why are you all so dumb? Anyway, but let's talk gatekeeping for a minute. So here's a viewer writing in with a pretty short mail, but it gives us a chance to talk gatekeeping, the thing that we all love. So it says, "Hey Perch, how are things going? Hope everything is well. Lately, I've been growing annoyed with the term gatekeeping and how it's become a massive buzzword during this so-called culture war discourse. Like all things culture war, I posted this phrase on Twitter, which sums up my feelings on the whole thing. When a fandom calls out culture war factions, whether it's the woke social justice warriors or the anti woke culture warriors, it's not gatekeeping. It's simply calling out morons and not wanting to have their hobbies dragged into some dumb culture war. Sorry for the tangent. What do you think of all this? Um, I think, look, I mean, there's different forms of gatekeeping, quote unquote gatekeeping. So I'll give you an example. I think if you're telling people, like segregation. If you're telling people you can't do this because you're a girl, or because you're black, or because you're Mexican, or whatever the fuck it happens to be, you can't do it. We won't allow you in because you're not a certain race, gender, blah blah blah. Or maybe it's just, you have to study 8,000 tomes of the lore before you can be part of the fancy pants, whatever the fuck the thing is. I mean, if that's your game, that you're trying to gatekeep people at that level, then that I would call that gatekeeping. Gatekeeping, where you're truly saying you are not allowed to do this thing, even if you're willing to play by the rules, even if you're willing to even if you want to play this game, the game as it is, or you want to read this comic book or watch this movie or whatever it is, you want to watch it as it is for what it is. You should be allowed to do it. Full stop. If somebody's trying to prevent you from just watching, playing, doing something as it sits, that's not gatekeeping. However, if people are trying to keep somebody out because they're either not qualified, when I say not qualified, it's like, I'll put it to you this way. If you're trying to rent a jet ski, all right, and you weigh 800 pounds and you are afraid of water, then the jet ski rental place should not rent you that jet ski, because you are going to kill yourself and maybe others. If you turn around and say you're trying to gatekeep me from getting on a jet ski, I have no sympathy for you, because they're doing it for your own good. You're not qualified to do the thing you're trying to do. As another example, if you if you say I want to license Lord of the Rings. Okay, we'll use a real example. I want to license Lord of the Rings, and when I do that, I want to completely change the mythology of the license, and and completely, not in little ways, but big ass ways. I want to completely change what it is. You know what? Lord of the Rings, it's not been sci-fi horror, enough. So we're gonna put some robots in there, and we're gonna put some horror elements in there, And that's what we're going to do to Lord of the Rings. That's our vision for it. I think it's okay to gatekeep and say, no, 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 no. You don't get to come in here and change everything that this thing fundamentally is. You can play by the rules, or deal with it as it is, or you can go make your own thing or do your own thing. I think that's fair game. Now, in fairness, if somebody owns that license and they want to sell it, or they're happy to offload it as to whoever. It's seller's business. It's not my business. It's not your business. Whoever wants to do this, it is absolutely their business. And I think that trips up a lot of people because they go, well, I've always been a fan of Lord of the Rings, and I want it to be the thing that I always remember. And then if somebody comes around and says, yeah, but I'm willing to take some money in exchange for being able to do whatever I want. I mean, there's not much you can do about that. It's their license to hold and sell and whatever. I think those are the two cases where gatekeeping and those kind of general things, either for your own good, your own safety, or if you want to actually take whatever this thing is, this activity, and you want to alter it so significantly that it no longer remotely resembles the original thing that it was designed. It is. I think it's perfectly fine to block those things. If you're going to come into comics and you're going to say, hey, I like comics, but what I don't like is sequential art and storytelling and any of the characters, and we're going to completely change everything, and you can't stop me because if you try and stop me, that's gatekeeping. I think it's perfectly reasonable to say, hey, I'm glad you learned a new word, but fuck the fuck off, because what you want to do is completely alter and transform the very nature of whatever this thing is. And so it is not gatekeeping to say I'm going to preserve the integrity of this product for others to enjoy. If you really truly want to build something entirely different or do something entirely different, cool. Nobody's stopping you. Go make your own original thing. That's kind of the way I view it. But I think gatekeeping to keep people safe, in some cases from themselves, or to kind of preserve a property that, so it can be enjoyed by others. I think those are fair things to do. Now, I think you get way too overzealous about all this, by the way. I think that you can, say I'm preserving it for others, or I'm doing this on behalf of society. I think that could start to get pretty loose, fast and loose. And again, at the end of the day, if somebody owns a property and they want to sell it, that's their business. But that to me is where I stand on it. I do think, and man, this could be a controversial statement, but here you go. I'm just kidding. This is an opinion of me and me alone. I think that some of these, I think some of these properties, whether for nostalgic purposes or that they're just long-term properties, I think that there's this desire, need, I don't know what to say, this drive within Hollywood to burn through properties really, really fast. And what I mean by that is they say, I don't really have a good idea, but I'm going to attach my bad idea to this known brand because then I'll be able to at least reclaim more money off my bad idea than I would have gotten otherwise. I wasn't going to make money off this because my idea sucks ass. But if I call it Star Wars, people will come and buy it and come into it because of Star Wars. And the challenge with that is by stepping in and radically altering whatever the existing property or content is, you wreck it for future people. You legitimately do. I've heard the argument, and I understand people can make it, of saying, like, nobody wrecks anything. You can just choose not to watch and then just step in with the other one. Yeah, that could be fine for some things, but for properties based on canon and lore and sequential storytelling and mythology, if it's something that actually has a lot of longevity to it, then I think the people who are in charge or responsible for those brands need to be really freaking careful before they let people come in and abuse them to get a cheap buck on an idea that wasn't going to sell in the first place. And I think there's quite a bit of that goes on. And I do think that there needs to be some, obviously, for lack of better words, some gatekeeping to save people from themselves and to allow for some of these properties and some of these things to have a life that goes beyond, where we currently sit. I think it's unfair to basically do what I think it's very unfair to say, in order to lazily make a buck off of this property, I'm going to go ahead and alter 50 years worth of history and legacy because it makes my life easier in this exact moment. It also makes life harder for others in the future. So that's the way I come down on it. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on gatekeeping below. Like and subscribe, of course, unless you're gate kept from commenting on the video, in which case tough. And thanks for listening.